In a world where every Rob, Steve, and Lane has a podcast, two good brothers will try to rise above the rest. Howard Blues and the Mark Kidder invite you to pour a cold beverage, pull up a seat, and enjoy time with friends. Welcome to Beer, Blues, and BS.
Hello again, and welcome to another edition of Beer, Blues, and BS, the podcast where Howard Blues can't pay his internet bills, so he's stocked up on AOL CDs, free trials from 1996. I think he's on disc 3,285. I'm the man, the myth, the legend, Mark Kidder. Not here with Howard Blues because his internet connection with the dial-up does not equal enough gigabits. I am instead joined by a very special guest who has been on this show before and will be on this show again and is very timely, in my opinion, and that is, welcome to the show, Big D. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. I'm chuckling internally that you're saying this is timely, considering all the heat you two clowns have given me about taking a year to come in here in the first place.
Well, maybe timely because it was Howard hounding you for that year. I never said, hey, you should be on the show. And then I asked you 2 days ago, hey, what are you doing? And you're like, I'll be on there. Sure, no problem. I can make it work. And I'm like, awesome.
Fair enough.
We'll blame Howard for that one. So I know that you're coming to us live from classy Baño. So you're on location.
I'm on location. Arguably, I'm here. Can't even say it with a straight face. Arguably, I'm here in business, but there's no
just
business going on. Don't worry. You're correct. I am in the classiest of all places, a hotel bathroom, because we are, Mrs. D and Little D and I came down to the Twin Cities to visit family. Mrs. D has a conference in Minneapolis all week that she's doing, but it's like 12, 14-hour long days. So I got, among other things that I'm taken on is also bedtime for Little D, who is right behind that wall. So especially when you're reached out and said, hey, what are you doing on Friday? I'm thinking, how the hell am I gonna, without waking him up? But the bathroom it is. And since I have no earbuds or anything that will plug into the computer, I got some AirPods, got my phone right there, resting up against the run sheet. So this is called technology at its weirdest.
It's about standard for this show, so I'm glad that you were able to make it work. And of course, if we get too loud, you can always pull the curtain. That'll help minus another 2 decibels, and then we can just white noise it. Just turn the shower on, keep flushing the toilet. It's totally normal. And ladies and gentlemen, all of our hopes and dreams here at the Triple B, thank you very much for joining us.
If it's good enough for Supreme Court oral arguments during COVID, it's good enough for me.
Absolutely. So I'd ask you what's on tap, but we know that there's at least 2 of 3 things that are on tap in that room, and I don't think any of them that you want to drink out of. So what do you have to drink this evening?
All right, so what's on tap round 1? Gonna get a little sentimental, kind of like I did last time. I broke out the nice big glass. I did not, don't have that with me right now, but what I have is, so when I first got to Germany in September of 2009, I was talking to one of my fellow service members who just happened to be there and standing in line next to at the bar or whatever it was on base at the enlisted club. I was like, sir, you've been here before, what's good? And long story short, he points me to this. The Leffe in Belgian Splendor. This is the Brune, or the brown version. There's also blonde. I like both of them, but this happened to be the very first one. And you're getting a little bilingual lesson here. Brune, arôme terrifié entre amertume et caramel. or for those of you who are less pretentious than either one of us, caramel and roasted notes from dark malts. It is 11.2 fluid ounces, 6.5% ABV. Got my classy, I can't even call this a classy hotel bottle opener. I got this from my parents. Because they gave us a bottle of wine and we had no corkscrew in the hotel, so there we go.
Classy hand-me-down.
It's going back to them tomorrow. But yeah, I've enjoyed this beverage many times. I've never actually tried to review it. So let's see here. Yep. Yummy.
Yummy. So on a 0 to 5, what would you rate it? What are some tasting notes as well?
I'm definitely tasting that roasted caramel, dark malty thing. I make it sound like I know what I'm talking about. I'm reading the label again. Definitely a full body flavor situation going on.
An oral experience. Very good. Good.
Easily 4.5.
All right. Well, it sounds like a tasty beverage, and hopefully, since you know where at least two of us reside, that you might find somewhere we can acquire some as well. Mm-hmm. Just gonna throw that out there.
And a happy hairs.
Which we don't have out here, because you know that would be great to expand west of Fargo and Grand Forks. You know.
Oh.
If Hal Gershman's listening, Jamestown, Bismarck, Dickinson, we just keep it rolling west, I
keep forgetting what's in Bismarck. You have to remember the last time I was there was in 2016 when we were going from someplace to someplace on one of the 8 million moves I've had in my military career, and we stopped in Bismarck, and I think you and I and Howard got some dinner, and then my dog took a crap on his floor. So I really explored what was in Bismarck at the time.
I mean, that's worth the trip in itself. Anytime a dog leaves a present for Howard, then we could just let it roll. It's good. Well,
all right. That's not me. What's for you, big man?
Let's see here. Since you're going with something a little darker, I will also go with something a little darker. No, I'm not taking a drink out of my soul. Something I've had on the show before is the classic Shiner Bock from the Spätzle Brewery down yonder in Shiner, Texas. And a good stand me by for a good conversation with another good brother. So, like I said, thanks again, and cheers to you in your baño. And for those who don't know, Shiner Bock, 12 fluid ounces here. And this is the old world Bavarian heritage with the ingenuity of American handcraft brewing for a smooth, always satisfying taste. From Shiner, Texas at the Spätzle Brewery. The aluminum is from the Ball Corporation. Make sure you serve it cold, which this, of course, is nice and cold, straight out of the Triple B fridge. And I'm not seeing the old alcohol percentage on this guy. So it is what it is. And it's always good to have a nice Shiner. Mm-hmm. Nice Shiner Bock. I like it. So I have to say, as we continue through Triple B, before we really get into it, you got to go to beerbluesbs.com. That's our website, beerbluesbs.com. Again, beerbluesbs.com. Oh man, I'm seeing the ceiling now. So beerbluesbs.com. As Big D goes crazy a little bit. That's our website, beerbluesbs.com. Lots of stuff on there, including the links to Facebook. You can also check out our YouTube page from beerbluesbs.com. Our link to a bunch of the audio sites. And you can listen to the show right there, beerbluesbs.com. And how about this? You buy us a beer. All you got to do is click the buy us a beer button at beerbluesbs.com. And aside from that, what if you want to pick up some merch? You can get some sweet merchandise. Yes, the pint glasses, perhaps a shirt, a sweatshirt, maybe some pants, a backpack even. Lots of items with lots of handcrafted designs at beerbluesbs.com. Click on merch. Again, beerbluesbs.com. Click on merch. Please and thanks. Gotta get the gerbil rolling again because Big D flipped the computer over or something. Now that we talked about the website a lot, I'm glad to have you here, like I've said before, but we have to get some business out of the way, don't we?
We do. A little bit of trolling is doing a bunch of, kind of in our discussions leading up to this. What would be, I kind of alluded to earlier, where Howie's going to be like 2 days and he's on the show. What the hell? And how trolly is it that I'm going so far as to broadcast live on location from the business center of my on location where I'm locationing, and but the detective, sorry Howie, proposed it to me, hey, you should be on the show a year ago, and then I finally did, 50 episodes in. But they catered, just like 2 days, and here I am. And, potentially next week as well should be, because, Mrs. will be out of the country, and so I'll, bring you an international on tap. For the draw. I don't know how that will throw with you, but I'll make it a way. I'll find a way.
I love it. We control Howie any way possible. Just like talking, Star Trek, talking weather, and he's okay with talking wrestling. But really, the other two, mainly Star Trek, he's like, I'm done, tuned out. So we can hit it quickly this week, and then next week we can really hammer him. So, what do you want to talk about first?
I was just going to ask you, what is your, if you had one, preferred Trek podcast?
I don't listen to any Trek podcast. I don't really follow any of the Trek breakdown sites or sources, I guess. Mm-hmm. I will occasionally watch the Ready Room with Will Wheaton after the episodes premiere each week, but that's all right. There's a couple, probably 5 or 6 different Facebook pages that I'll follow for Trek news, that sort of thing. But I really don't listen to anybody else's opinion on Trek because, well, they don't matter. What about you? Do you follow some of these other blogs or sites or anything?
I listen to on occasion, and I'm kind of stepping through it. There's a podcast, the Roddenberry Podcast Network, from I believe
Eugene Roddenberry.
Rod Roddenberry kind of heads that up, as I understand it, and it's called Mission Log. And they stepped through. They started with The Cage in 2012, and they've done every single episode of TOS, TNG. They just recently finished up DS9 and went on to Voyager. They've also done the feature films, and it's they examined it for messages, morals, and meanings, and other internal, tricky type messages that might be there, and they discuss whether it holds up today. I think the episode I was most excited about recently was In the Pale Moonlight.
Fantastic.
One of my favorite DS9 episodes. But when they finally got to, does it hold up as Trek, as Gene Roddenberry's vision, they're like, yeah, it freaking doesn't, because of all the badassery that Captain Sisko does in there, but it is totally not Trek. It's not the Kirk and Picard, we are morally, we take the moral high road, even if it goes to our own detriment, and doesn't hold up. It's still one of the best produced episodes that I personally ever enjoyed watching.
I could totally see that, with the Gene Roddenberry vision of a brighter future, and there's no conflict and whatnot. But with Deep Space Nine, I think I enjoy it because it's more of a realistic take on how conflict can't be completely erased. There's always something that'll come up, and with the Dominion War, the place that they're in, the ultimate decision to do what Sisko does in that episode, because running all the numbers, every statistical possibility, the Romulans, the Federation, the Bajorans, and the Alliance will lose the war against the Dominion. So how do you pull, the Klingons, so how do you pull the Romulans into this so then you have a better chance of winning that war? And of course, the other best thing of the episode, holding the isolinear rod, it's a fake!
Memes aplenty from that.
So I know of the podcast that you have mentioned, because I got to meet Rod when I was at a couple of the cons back in the day. Actually, on the Batleth, have his autograph on there as well. So, add to the collection and whatnot. It's fun to get to talk to him for a couple minutes. But aside from all that, all of their different podcasts on the network, I'm familiar, but I just don't get a chance to sit and listen to them. And same with Sirach Lofton and the late Aaron Eisenberg having the Seventh Rule podcast. And I bought a Captain Nog t-shirt to help support Aaron's family after he passed. So, and it's sad because I got to sit and listen to him at the conventions too, and he was just a vibrant person, and he was just fun. His interaction as Nog. Yes, Nog was a character, but there's so many interactions just getting to see him when you watch the character from start to finish through DS9. Aaron brought the emotions out of himself and his own experiences. I mean, like a true actor should do, but he really brought Nog to life to that other level, which I'm sure you, as you started Deep Space Nine, were like, this annoying Ferengi, kid. And then by the end of the series, you're like, Nog is awesome. Like, you're pulling for him, right? Even let me see, what is it? Under the Paper Moon, I think is the name of the episode, where after Nog has his leg blown off and he's going through rehab and he's having troubles coping with PTSD.
It's only a paper moon.
Yeah, it's only a paper moon. Like, that episode, if you've gone through or have had experiences that are difficult for you to deal with, like, that episode is one that you should watch. It's not going to cure you and make you just suddenly get things, but it's ultimately a relatable episode, and there may be something that helps you in that can get you to the next step. And I love Deep Space Nine so much. It's my favorite. So it's just amazing. But since I said my favorite, your favorite, are you a classic, newer, in the middle?
It's hard to say. Pros and cons about them all. I think probably the one I enjoy watching the most is going to be Deep Space Nine. A lot of it has to do with the character development and the character interplay. Garrett and Bashir, Quark and Odo. Those two pairs, especially Quark and Odo, pure gold. It had to have been a lot of fun for them to act. It's a lot of fun watching even now, after all these years.
Right. And I wish that Rene Auberjonois was still around so that he could bring back more portrayals of Odo. He's one of the pieces that's now missing, just like Aaron missing. But the cool thing, and I don't know if we've ever talked about this before either, on the show, probably not, but even over the years, is Star Trek Online. Being for me, I've been playing the game since it started 12 years ago, and they, as the developers, have continued to add stories and different missions and features of the game. They did a complete redesign of Deep Space Nine, so it's as show accurate as they can get, because the set for Deep Space Nine was a very small portion of a room. The corridors were a separate area, right? But the promenade, they would redress the whole thing and change the camera angle for most of the episodes. So you never had a specific, that plant goes there, that goes there, this banner hangs over there. You knew where the security office was. You knew where the infirmary was located. You knew where the specific things on the promenade were located. The singing Klingon chef with the accordion, they added him in there. And what they did, they used every photo and of the set itself and every clip establishing shot that they could to position it, drew it out, and then redesigned it so then it's as show accurate as possible. So you can go sit, have a cup of Ractigino in the Replimat, and watch the singing Klingon across the way playing the accordion. So I love taking a stroll there. And of course, I bring that up with the redesign and the missions and whatnot, because Renee voiced Odo for a series of episodes. So his character lives on. Odo lives on through those episodes. Nog is a captain now, and he lives on and has a bunch of different episodes. There's Garrick and Bashir and Kira. Who else from Deep Space Nine is all those characters are involved in one way or another. Geordi LaForge is in there, and then you go into Voyager with Captain Janeway and Tom Paris, and Harry Kim, right? Like all of the actors have lent their voices to recreate their character in the game. So you can go on a mission. Oh, the Doctor. Can't forget about the Doctor. And Neelix. But they're all in the game. So you're going to have to... Mad feedback. Oh, you were just flushing the toilet?
And you mentioned it, Felix.
I see.
No problem with Ethan Phillips. Wonderful actor. Neelix, not so much.
He the more times that you watch Voyager and get vested in his character, he's not so bad. He could be worse. He could be Jar Jar Binks. I know he's the Jar Jar Binks of Voyager, but he's not as bad as Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, he can at least cook. The quality and the question about whether he'd be poisoned by it. Different discussion for different minds, but not as bad as Jar Jar.
The funny thing about it is his cameo, Ethan Phillips' cameo in Star Trek First Contact.
Oh.
It's the bouncer on the holodeck.
I'll give that a pass. That was a little bit player. You
gotta love that fan pleasure the writers put in there. And the doctor's showing up, of course, right? Please state the nature of the medical emergency.
And then, of course, throw back to Bowen's, I'm a doctor, not a doorstop.
Yep. I do have to say, if you didn't know this, but Garrett Wang, who played Harry Kim on Star Trek Voyager, he does impressions of the rest of them and they all know it, but because they spent so many hours together, he would start doing impressions of all of them. Mainly Kate Mulgrew as Catherine Janeway and the doctor, who Robert Picardo. So it's very interesting to hear him grab the microphone and Ensign Kim, could you run a sensor analysis of the nebula? I need to see if there's coffee. Something stupid along those lines. Or then he'll rattle off, one of the lines from an episode. just good stuff. Good stuff. Maybe, so number one, I think that you and I need to get connected in Star Trek Online. Got to download. It's free to play. So then there's that time thing. I know. So we'll get that. And then on the other end of that, I'm thinking that we need to go to a con together.
We'll talk.
We'll talk. Yeah.
I haven't really been into gaming much for, it's been a hot minute. To give you an idea of what that means, in 2015, I was talking to some coworkers when I was living on Guam, and they were talking about gaming consoles and all the things they have. They looked up at me, hey, you game? I guess, kind of. I had a PS2 in 2015 that I had for 10 years at a time.
It's an oldie but a goodie, right?
Yeah.
Well, I do PC for that one, but it is available for PlayStation and for Xbox. So we could get you, a quality laptop and just play it at the lowest resolution. It is what it is. You'll figure it out.
Cool. Yeah, but speaking of oldies but goodies, I'm gonna jump on to topic 3 there, because it's oldie but goodie.
It's getting old.
Yeah, exactly. It's getting old. A gift that keeps on giving. Snow, because in North Dakota, why not? Why not get trolled by the spring season? Last week.
And I think I killed his interwebs. It's like, no, you tried to do too much.
April 12th, give or take. We got 11 inches out in Grand Forks. Larimore, just up the road, as I found out today, we got 19 inches. And that's only 15 minutes of the road or 15, 30 minutes of the road. Line out in Bismarck.
Yeah, officially at the airport, it was like 18.6 here. And I'm like, maybe the average between the drift on the side and the center of it. I can attest that we got more than that.
Yeah, I know some of our acquaintances lost their furnace for a few hours, but it's up and going again.
It's good.
Which is good. It was only after not a terribly long amount of time. Everything was good. The furnace is now back on, good to go. It sounds like Howie didn't run into that. Was your house good to go, or?
Yeah, he was good. I didn't hear anything negative about his place other than him having to use the manual snowblower, as in the shovel. Down at my place, I got the privilege of going to my regular job all of the days except for Good Friday. So I made it out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday I ended up getting high centered down the block. Took my tires out a little bit, backed up into the driveway, and then my boss had to come pick me up in his big truck. But had I made it another block, I would have been fine. But it's what happens. I mean, even the power of the Subaru, you lose the traction on the wheels and you're not going anywhere. So had I still had traction, I would have been fine. But it just kept going up the drift, even though I was following tire tracks. But are you liking the fun down in southwestern North Dakota tonight? I mean, look at that. We have some thunderstorms, huh? Got some lightning on there.
We're looking at some of that coming our way over the next 24 hours, or coming our way up in Grand Forks. Some of my colleagues up there are reporting on it, and I'm just sitting there thinking, I'm down here. But I'll get back up there this weekend right in the middle of it, so I'm going to jinx myself pretty hard. But yeah, and then.
Yeah, look at that lightning. All them bolts. If the funny thing is when I put out the forecast, and I don't like putting out the forecast, 5 days before it happens, and it shows that we'll get 22,000 inches of snow or something like that. and so I put out the forecast a little bit, day before it hit or so, day and a half, and then you comment of where's the rain snow line gonna set up, and it didn't set up too close. I think my forecast wasn't too bad though. I mean, when you look at it was pretty close to what people were seeing.
Yeah, and that was one of the benefits of having, from a forecasting standpoint, having Bismarck Minot in the area that it was. That rain snow line, it was in between Fargo and Grand Forks, and it was teasing us a little bit. I think it ultimately stayed south of us, but only just. So I was at work, and I'm briefing a bunch of high rollers on what the storm system is going to do. Of course, the first thing I do is stand up and the ranking guy in the room is like, "Ooh, yes," before he said a word. So I'm like, "This is going to go great. Here's your tea." I said, "It's all good." But I'm like, I hate to tell you that we got to wait and see, but we just kind of got to wait and see.
So how about this is a forecast over the next about 70 hours? I know it's super, super large for you on your end of it, but basically Grand Forks about 3/4 of an inch, Bismarck 3.5-ish, Minot 9-ish, Williston 15, Dickinson 14. I think, in my personal looking at that and going, I think that it should set up about like that. Of course, if the low moves east or west, that'll give us a little bit more rain or more snow. But with the wraparound snow, I think we could get an easy 2 to 3 inches.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When I moved to Grand Forks in August, my wife was from Western Oregon. She's like, "I want a proper winter." Yeah, you got one, honey.
Yeah, you found one. Well, don't want to bore everybody watching and listening to us with all of that. I'm more excited for thunderstorms. Is there something that you're excited for? I mean, you're not a huge snow fiend, I don't think.
I've missed the snow. I haven't seen much of it. Over the past 13 years, I haven't seen a heck of a lot of it. But I enjoy it when it comes. As far as excited about weather, I'm excited about getting the forecast right. Because got it. We gave all these people the advance warning. They're able to do what they need to do to get ready for it. Because I'm responsible for giving, as far as locally, I'm responsible for giving the weather to 3,000 people. So kind of a small crowd. I did not to have tight games, which I had to deal with. Although I never did. Carolina, we got hurricanes while I was there, so don't have to worry about that. Worry about tornadoes.
So you're just ready for a little bit of a change. And you've probably had about enough snow this season to make up for all of the rest of them combined, right?
Just about. We get crap. How much did we get? Talked to my colleagues about, and they're like, oh, you don't. Yeah, North Dakota has numbers, both weeks of them. Jinxed myself with that. You're scratching your head. Horrible joke.
You like getting 3/4 of your snowfall in one event?
Yeah, this is that. Plus, I'm a couple days off of work. We chew in that thing.
I don't mind it because then you get all of it and then get it over with. Unlike last weekend and this weekend, and we'll see what happens. But that's just it. The forecast is up in the air. We'll see what happens when it happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. As I mentioned,
the Holiday Inn interwebs is starting to die, I think. Maybe Howard used the AOL disk that the front desk was trying to use at this time. So it's doubling the connection and pulling the gigabits away from it. Maybe that's what it is. I know for a fact we're going to make up for all of this pixelation and broadcasting from the moon on next week's or the following week's edition. So, will we have enough gigabits? Is there anything you want to say to wrap it up for now?
Can you hear me?
It's like that old guy that was at one cell company and then left after he got fired and then went to work for another. Can you hear me now?
Shut up.
You probably be better off on your hotspot at this rate. Either way, I'm going to be overly excited to get to talk to you in more detail about what happens this weekend and see about all of the fun that we're going to potentially have this weekend. So we'll pick up again next week. How does that sound? So what you can't see is the live text in the rundown, because I see about 32 pixels that look like it's Big D, and the Tron voice coming through. But he can type easily in the rundown, and he can hear me just fine. So the wonders of the internet continue to amaze. But we're going to pick up where this is leaving off this week on the next edition of Triple B. So make sure you tune in. It's going to be a good one, as Booker T would say. And as he says, he's going to end with what's on tap 2, more booze. And then next week we can actually talk wrestling too. Get some wrestling talk. So, Big D, you could try and tell me whatever you want to tell me, but I want to tell you thanks for making my evening and joining me to especially give Howard the business. More trolling later. Perfect. It's a great way to end this part of this episode of Triple B. So, we'll see you again soon there, Big D. And now, as we continue this Triple B extended episode, it is time for a trip down under. Yep, you saw him. It's Farva. He's back. We're seamlessly transitioning to the Texan implanted down yonder. How the hell are you there, Farva?
Oh, doing good, Kidder. How have you been?
I'm pretty good because this Shiner box almost done.
Oh, I see you've got a bit of that Texas flavor right there. Well, unfortunately, Farva's worked today, and he's got to work bright and early tomorrow morning, so I've got the finest Sierra, not of the Nevadas, mist here.
Now is that specifically picked off of the mist tree, only grown in the Sierras, and then squeezed by hand to make that delectable drink that you have there?
It is the finest mist were done. They were squeezed jewfully by the best employees that you could imagine to make sure they were gently and squeezed in and get the lemon lime flavor that is the Sierra Mist.
The lemons, the limes, and the mists all together to create a carbonated, non-caffeinated tastiness that you're enjoying. So,
exactly.
As we've said before on the Triple B, you don't have to have an alcoholic beverage. We just ask you to grab a beverage, pull up a chair, and just have some time with friends. So thanks for taking some time out of your busy day and schedule, as I know that the dogs are mauling you for their attention right now.
Yes, I've been gone a good chunk of the day, so they're glad I'm home, and so now I'm getting all of their missed attention, but it's all right. It's part of the game.
Are they just checking to make sure that it's still you and that you still have your beard, or if it's real, maybe not an imposter?
Yeah, that's true, because I think the last time I was on Drip B, I don't think I had the beard yet. I think it was still in its infancy. So
you had a wee bit of the stash, but you didn't have the rest of the business going on.
That's right. Enjoying that.
Quite distinguished.
Thank you, kind sir. I'm taking on the department policy for allowing us to have these wonderful beards and mustaches if we want. So that's where I'm going with.
I do like forward thinking about that, because it is 2022 now. So
it is. But yeah, no, doing well down here in the great Lone Star State. Been pretty busy actually. I know that we've talked recently. We talked about how I'm getting ready to go to my own schedule, which will be a first for me. some of your listeners may not know, but shift work is always fun, and when you have a specialized job like me, it kind of gets hampered by taking the normal police stuff rather than focusing
Other business.
Yeah. Yeah. So it'd be kind of nice to go and do my own thing, with the dog and not have to worry about that other business,
Yeah. I definitely know what you know. And then you look at that. I know the camera wasn't on you, but he's getting kisses.
Yeah.
This choking me up.
I know.
Choking me up.
Oh my God.
I can't say that Orion doesn't do that to me. He you just overhear meowing. You might be able to hear him in the background, but he wants his toe thrown. So there you go. Throw that over. But
that's my boy saying.
What else you got going on? I mean, you got your misting of Sierra.
Yeah.
You have the upcoming freedom of your own time scheduling, so you can be on this show more. I mean, what else is going on down yonder?
Well, unfortunately, I think as we all know, my dad passed away a few years ago. You remember that? And remember I inherited his F-350 pickup truck?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I am very thankful. I have purchased a beater car because my dad's truck, my pickup truck, tanked. It's a Power Stroke diesel, and
Oh no.
Yeah, and it's getting close to 20 years old. The fuel control board, I think, finally failed. So I'm keeping the truck. I'm gonna find a part and get it fixed. But I'm very thankful. I bought a used Expedition last year, like around my birthday, because man, it is really helping me out.
Here, I was just gonna say that you were taking a moment of silence for the amount that you have to pay in gas to fill the tank.
Oh, well, what's funny is right before it failed, I just filled up the diesel tank.
Of course you did.
Of course. And, $195.
Whew.
And my Expedition, it's an older one. Yeah, it's always fun going $80 at the pump.
That's a quarter tank, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Just top it off.
Yeah, it's 80 for the quarter.
I'm sorry, man. I mean, I have to say that I enjoy my turbo Subaru Legacy.
Nothing wrong.
And
Good car.
It gets decent gas mileage. Not as good a gas mileage as the straight 4-cylinder because it is a turbo. But I mean, as I continue to break it in a little bit, I could then take it on the road some more. But hopefully, be getting 35 to 40 mile per gallon driving out on the interstate speeds. I can hope, because in town just kills the gas mileage.
It does, and I've tried to be real ginger with my my Expedition because it's the older V8 version, and I've been lucky by just being real gentle on that gas pedal. I've been getting like 17 miles to the gallon in the city average.
That's really good.
Yeah, for a big old car like that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'm glad you know how to drive.
Me too, somehow.
There's what?
It was better than my squad car, man. That thing is 9 miles to the gallon, and it drinks the gas like it's water. Good old Ford Exploder,
I seem to remember a certain one that I remember seeing that had lifetime average of 7.2 miles per gallon.
Oh, that are you sure it wasn't my car?
It might have been.
I think it was. I think that's my average for the Canine Mobile, which is I broke it actually. I broke it really bad.
No.
Yeah, the dog has been on vacation for the last 3 weeks.
So, did you find something on the road? Did somebody find you?
No, so physically the car's in good shape, but You know, Kidder, you've worked in government. And you know how it works. When a vehicle makes 100,000 miles, it's usually when it's time to replace it, right?
Yeah, it's a good time to start getting rid of things.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, not so the case with mine. It's over 100,000, 12,000 hours on the engine, and a bunch of parts just failed at once. And
Awesome.
it's at the Ford dealership getting sorted out.
Of course it is.
Yeah, because our fleet mechanics were like, "Yeah, this is going to need to be a Ford fixing." So I don't know when it'll be back. I know it's going to be back sometime soon, hopefully by the end of the month. But yeah, my boy, he's laying here getting bored.
I seem to recall the rule of 3 or 100,000, whichever comes first, is about the time when vehicles crap out.
Yeah, no, agreed. We've already replaced the transmission on this beast. We've done numerous brake rotors and everything. So yeah, we're due for something. But hey, it's above my pay scale. I just do what I'm told. But
just do what you're told.
just
And
do what I'm told.
I told you to be on the show, and here you are.
I am. Here I am. Rain or shine.
Salute. yeah, rain or shine. It is raining up here, which is really nice. There's some lightning out there, a little thunder.
Oh wow!
I'm digging it. It's my kind of weather, you know.
Yeah.
Thunderstorms rolling in. You get that nice rain. Some light shows in the distance. Or
Oh yeah!
on top.
That's
Yeah,
I
love
like
it.
that. I love the thunderstorm. In fact, it's about to start that season down here in Texas, where we're getting into our storm season, and it got started a few weeks ago, and you would have loved the opportunities to chase because it was urban chasing.
See, I don't like urban chasing or anywhere that like trees and all that, because I like seeing what I can see in the sky, and then being able to drive to or from what I want.
True, but it started in the city, and then shagged out into the county, into the open area, where they were talking EF4. It was a good one.
Yeah,
it rolled through North Austin. I think it would have been your type of weather event. Would have been the KDN News special.
KRDN Eyewitness News 8 live on location. Yeah, that would have been good. I never hope or want to see tornadoes running through an urban area or hitting homes and whatnot.
No.
If we could, I'd just love to see tornadoes out in fields. I mean, yes, the crops are expensive to replace, and
especially in this
whatnot.
current inflation.
but having it out in a field much better than having it in the middle of a town.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And thankfully, the storms that did go through, while there was significant property damage, hello, yes, hi, nobody got killed, thankfully, during those storms.
Good.
So, but no, it was definitely, we're getting ready to start our season, and I enjoy the lightning, thunder, particularly the tropical moisture. In fact, I'm kind of waiting to see what our hurricane season is going to be like down here, because they keep kind of predicting that the Gulf is going to be active. So we'll see.
It might be a bit moist for you, so
Just a bit.
Make sure you bring your poncho wherever you go.
Rain might be going sideways.
I mean, if you have that, you might have other issues. So turn the car back upright in the correct 4 wheels on the ground. That's the ideal position.
Preferred method. Gosh. Oh, dude, I just remember I worked Harvey, so.
That was a shit show. I mean, from the flooding and the storm surge, and of course the wind damage, and then the isolated tornadoes. I mean, that was bad enough.
Corpus Christi and Port Aransas. Well, Port Aransas took a direct hit, and then Corpus Christi. I mean, that's a city of like 300,000. And the damage is still there. Even several years afterwards, you go to Port Aransas to go to the beach and enjoy the culture, and you can still see remnants of all the damage. Thankfully, it looks like the businesses have recovered and moved on. But interesting stuff. You and I are big weather people, so it's always it's always an interesting thing. But right now, thankfully, we're current weather for me, cloudy skies, pretty humid though.
Moist atmosphere.
Oh,
That's
it is
good.
very moist. It's thick, moist.
It's kind of the same here. We got some rain rolling through, like I said, so I'm happy for that.
How warm is it up there though?
Right now it is 39, and it
Oh,
feels like 31 on the skin if it were exposed.
Well, I wish I could have that because it is. Well, it's what 10:30, and she is outside is 72 degrees.
I'll trade you.
You got it, buddy. We'll trade.
I'll trade. I will take that any day of the week. Moist and 72. It sounds like a match made in heaven.
Yeah,
I was going to say that you're talking about hurricane damage and tropical storm in that case once it actually got there, but back, let's see, it would be 8 years ago. We were in New Orleans for WrestleMania 30.
Yeah.
And of course, New Orleans and the whole Gulf Coast got hit by Katrina really bad.
Yeah.
And that was, I suppose 8 years, I think, before we went down to WrestleMania, and there were whole neighborhoods still untouched from the aftermath and the destruction. It's just, some of it's just left, and it's a terrible situation all around. And then on top of it, where we stayed in Gretna, which is just across the little inlet from downtown New Orleans. Yeah. Just to the north and to the west of where we stayed in the hotel, last month, a tornado touched down and went through that area, crossed the inlet, and went into the neighboring suburb on the other side. And that was an EF, I want to say 3 or 4 with the damage.
It looked like it. I think I remember it because it made the news, and it was the same system that spawned tornadoes in Texas and Central and South Texas. And I saw the night glow of that, and I was like, "Ooh, that's got to be a strong 3, possible 4."
Yeah, it wasn't good. Wasn't good, but it actually happened late enough at night, 8, 9 o'clock. So people weren't necessarily asleep, but people also weren't necessarily out driving around. It was an evening commute, and there was a decent level of warning for it, so it didn't pop up on the city and surprise people. I don't remember the number of injuries, and I don't remember if there were any fatalities, and I hope that there weren't. But it could have. You think about it; it's pitch black out there, and the only way that you see the tornado is in the lights of the city or the power flashes as it's taking out transformers along the way.
Yeah.
So it could have been a lot worse.
It could have been a lot worse, and like you said, you'd much rather see these things out in the rural areas than in the urban environment because of the destruction and the mayhem. Yeah. But still, it's definitely a form of Mother Nature that's it's got its own beauty to it. If you think about it, just watching it and just seeing, man, how some water vapor, some wind, and some instability causes all that to form. Yeah,
that's the amazement of the atmosphere when you think about how much water is above us and around us that you can't actually see and touch is unfathomable. And it's all here on our giant ball that we're all stuck on.
Yeah. The giant apartment that the landlord hasn't kicked us out yet.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still hoping that by the end of my life, the Enterprise will swing by, beam me up, and I can get the hell out of here. But
hell, take me with you, man. I'll go work in engineering. I'll be good with it.
Great. He's gonna screw up the warp core. That's all we need.
No.
Matter and antimatter. Yeah, let's put both of those together without it.
I'm not going to cause a warp core breach, okay?
Okay.
And better yet, which Enterprise are you wanting? The D, the E, the A, the B, the C?
I like the E myself. It's sleek, it's long, it's technologically advanced, it kicks ass.
I do. I like the Sovereign class. Nothing wrong with the Galaxy class, particularly the ones in the era of Deep Space Nine, where they did a lot more modifications and updates to them. But nothing wrong with an Intrepid class ship either.
Good old Voyager. I like the Ambassador class. Not a popular opinion with the Enterprise C, but the Ambassador class, it's a very nice looking ship, I think.
It is. It's still a very formidable ship, even in the next gen era. Most people don't see it much because all we did see was the Enterprise C. And I think you saw a little bit of it in Deep Space Nine, if I'm not mistaken.
There was an Ambassador class ship in the opening scene of the Wolf 359 battle where Cisco was at. And that's the only time that you see an Ambassador class ship in Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
Then they have the Excelsior class, like the Enterprise B.
Yep.
And the
Miranda.
They have a lot of the Miranda class vessels. They even have the fighters, the Raiders, attack wings. Of course, the Galaxy class ships in the major battles. Yeah. And what would have been really fun to see would be more of so going ahead to Voyager with the Prometheus class ship with the multi-vector assault mode.
Yeah. That's one show that I think, Deep Space Nine was pretty underrated initially, but it got really good. I kind of feel almost the same with Voyager. I don't think it was given the same. It doesn't have the same cult. Now it does, but at the time it never had the same kind of following that Next Gen had.
Yeah. And with it being now 27 years since the premiere of Voyager, the Voyager documentary is getting wrapped up. So I will be in the credits of that. So make sure you check it out. I was a backer of that, just like I was of the Deep Space Nine documentary, What We Left Behind, which was really good.
I think I saw that and it was really good. And I actually enjoyed how they talked about why they casted certain people and why certain things were done. And, Picard, I feel really bad. I'll be honest, as we've discussed, I've been running ragged. I liked the first season and the second season. I love that they brought back Q. I just hope that there's more bringing back some of the characters from prior series. I'd love to see Cisco return. I'd love to see Cisco to show that he's still there, even though we all kind of know that, like he said in the ending of Deep Space Nine, I'll be back, I'll return. Good to see him.
Would you like a spoiler of sorts? Because obviously, you know that I'm watching Picard. And I say this as a spoiler, not in the episodic spoilers, because I'll let you catch up on season 2.
Yeah.
And then you can see for yourself.
Yeah.
But this was put on social media and promotional everything that in season 3, the whole cast returns to the show for Picard season 3. So the next gen cast, Diana Muldaur does not, and neither does Will Wheaton. But everybody else was listed as returning from, Commander Riker, Deanna Troi, Geordi LaForge,
good,
Beverly Crusher.
Oh, Beverly Crusher.
Oh, Beverly. Yes.
Why not Will Wheaton though? Come on.
Yeah, and I don't remember if I came across an article of why he wasn't, or if they didn't write him in or whatnot. But with him being on the Ready Room, he's kind of there anyway. So
yeah, true. Now, what's Brett Spiner going to play? Because he technically Data's done. He's gone.
Data is done. There may be a chance for B4 from Nemesis.
That's true. B4.
Of course. This. How far along are you in season 2?
I've gotten to the 2nd episode.
Okay.
I'm far behind, sir. Far behind.
I mean, you're only 6 episodes behind, so you're not that far behind when it all comes down to it. I mean, the next season, which is the final season of Picard, won't be out until next year. So, I mean, you have time. So you're getting there. But Brent Spiner shows up, and you'll see.
Good. Well, I look forward to that surprise because Spiny the Whiny, as Patrick Stewart has called him, the level of comedy from him is always epic.
Did you ever hear the story from Brent Spiner of the pronunciation of Data, and the reason that it's Data is so basically when they went into it, Brent Spiner is thinking, well, it's data. You do data collection, data this, data whatever. And he doesn't say his own name as the character, right? Because Commander Riker introduces him. Oh, you must be Commander Data. Well, the first scene that was shot with Data was with Patrick Stewart. Patrick Stewart is the one who essentially famously said and delivered the lines of blah, 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 Commander Data. And so Patrick Stewart essentially named the pronunciation for Data and why everybody says Data. Yeah. And in the 2nd season, when Dr. Pulaski joins the crew for the season, that's why she says, isn't that right, Data? And then he corrects her. It was kind of a joke to the previous season's naming for it, which
and you know what?
Nobody knew.
No, and you know what? Good little inside joke, but it makes sense because, I mean, if you look at that, Patrick Stewart and the pronunciation, I mean, even the Canadians do it. It's not process, it's process. It's not lever, it's lever, So it's not data, it's data.
You take this semi down the highway. It's a semi, not a semi. Yeah, because there is an I at the end.
Yep. Oh well, let's not forget they don't call them. Was it the Brits don't call it McDonald's? They call it Knackers.
Oh, take a quite hit of Macca's, eh? Well,
yeah. I'll get me a quarter pounder, eh?
A Royale with cheese.
Oh, isn't that in France?
Probably, but
a Royale.
It is what it is. Huh? Pulp Fiction. Yeah, we'll just pull that one out.
There you go.
Either way, that's about the fun that we have. I've been up and down with Picard season 2.
Yeah,
I'm glad that they finally finished the last train wreck season of Star Trek Discovery, because I don't know if you watched it without going into any specifics, because I'm sure you haven't, and that's fine. They call it what is the official? I think it's SDC. For the official nomenclature that they use for Star Trek Discovery, SDC, but everybody who doesn't like the show calls it STD because it's Star Trek Discovery, right? Yeah. And the last season kind of felt like an STD because they didn't get to the point for the entirety of the 14 episodes, and you have an itch to scratch, but it doesn't get scratched, and the want for it doesn't go away because you're like, please just make it better. And then they do something stupid, like the opposite. And of course, if you want to know my full rant and breakdown of the last season of Star Trek Discovery, you can check out some of the previous episodes. But just to save you some time, if you skip scenes and fast forward, you probably won't miss a lot. Or just watch the first episode, maybe the second episode, and then the last. And then it'll probably be a really good season.
Oh, wonderful. Star Trek Discovery, it never has really clicked with me. I guess maybe I'm just an old salt to the earth or whatever, but to me, the next gen era of shows.
Yeah, where they produced it. It all made sense. You could do episodic stuff, and you could do longer form stuff.
Right, and I kind of they would have done another series picking up where Voyager came back in, kind of like with Next Gen, kind of handing the torch off to Deep Space Nine, and Deep Space Nine kind of helping out the start of Voyager.
Yeah.
Enterprise with Scott Bakula wasn't horrible, but it was kind of a step back because we're like, well, in the future they can do this, in the future you can do that, and it was kind of,
they went back and they shot themselves in the foot for two different things. Number one, because they went back before the Federation, before Captain Kirk, and they tried to do the retcon on the entire thing, which a lot of people were anxious about, and rightly so, because how can you make something look old and low tech in the future?
Yeah.
I mean, they tried to do a nice balance of it, but there's that. And then when it aired, it was on UPN pretty much exclusively. And a lot of places didn't get UPN, or it was pushed off or pushed later due to baseball or whatever stupid stuff they had going on. So when they started telling all of these stories in this long season arc, you'd miss episodes or parts of episodes, and you have no idea what's going on. So people are like, this is stupid because I don't get it. Why are they doing this? You don't get it. So then, to your point, it was pretty good when the Blu-rays came out. I was like, yeah, I gotta get them to finish my collection, of course. But I genuinely wanted to see them and give it a chance, because I still remember watching the premiere in 2000, and I was like, oh, this is it's the same, but it's not. Like, let's try it. And rewatching them, I'm like, this is way better than what I ever remember it. In fact, season 3, the final season, even the back half of season 3, was some of the best episodic writing that they did.
It was.
And then it gets canceled.
It does. Well, and I don't think it had anything to do with the acting. Scott Bakula was an awesome captain format. And I like the crew. I just think that had they put it into something following after Voyager, it would have been way more successful.
Yep.
And you could have still had a lot of those interplot stories that were going on.
Yeah, but they still could have ran into the Andorians. They still could have done things with the Klingons and the Romulans and the Vulcans. Even going to the bit, if you remember when they did the terrorism bit with the
Terra.
Because all these people didn't like off-worlders. They didn't want or like aliens.
Yeah.
That whole thing still could have been a piece, because in Deep Space Nine with the changelings in the hierarchy of Starfleet, they're on Earth. They locked down Earth. It was unheard of, right? There's all this stuff. You could still do it. It would have been cool.
It would have been good.
We went back in time.
And
Ziggy, get me out of here.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, they could have made a movie and it probably would have been more successful. Like a solid production movie. But
there's even calls now for a Voyager movie.
I'd love to see a Voyager movie. The only
Because it
problem,
was time.
the only problem is, would Catherine Mulgrew want to reprise her role?
Yeah, she would, and she has, because she's voicing.
Oh yeah, that kid's cartoon version of herself.
Star Trek Prodigy.
Yeah. I watched it with my stepson, and it was really good. Interesting take on where it's going. But I like Lower Decks.
Yeah, it's serious, but it's satirical at the same time. Yeah, I've enjoyed it,
especially when Riker and Deanna on the Titan.
Yep. Blam, 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 and then when Boimler joins and they show him and Riker's like, just go, it's fired, and Boimler, I enjoyed that.
Now,
at the last convention, we got to see the premiere in one of the sessions, basically. Because it started while the convention was going on. So not only did we get to hear from Mike McMahon, the primary creator of Star Trek Lower Decks, but we got to then see the first episode of season 2. So it was kind of interesting sitting in a group like that of a whole bunch of Star Trek fans watching this new Star Trek episode be played, even though it's an animated. There were a lot of people who were wearing the Lower Decks uniform all the way down to the boots.
Well, I think when you look at it, Lower Decks, well, one, the writing, they like you said, satirical, comedy driven, but they use the format of the the rank structure, the weaponry, the terminology, and I want to say a couple of the writers from Lower Decks are actually from Rick and Morty too.
Yeah, because Mike McMahon is a co-creator of Rick and Morty.
Yep,
and
exactly. So
the primary showrunner for this, there's a lot of that humor that's added in, but he's also said that he's a huge fan of Next Generation era, and so that would even include the Deep Space Nine reference. He's a huge fan of Deep Space Nine.
Oh, and Voyager. Yeah, Voyager, Deep Space Nine, Next Gen. It's all awesome, and I think we have to remind ourselves we saw probably the best that Star Trek will be until somebody picks up that torch and truly does it. Because remember, Orville by Seth MacFarlane is heavily based on the Next Gen because that's something he grew up on and loved and enjoyed.
And they have, let's see, Rick Berman, I think, is one of the main producers on the Orville, and he was one of the main showrunners for
Next Gen,
our
Deep Space Nine. Yeah, he traveled between 3 and he even did Enterprise too, which but it's. Those shows will live on in infamy as some of the best in sci-fi, story building. Star Wars, to take a different spin, because we got our Star Trek, but we also have Star Wars. My kids, the Farvettes, are super big into Star Wars, particularly Marie, and the Clone Wars cartoons. Have you ever seen them?
I've just seen still shots. I've never watched them because
you're more of a Star Trek guy.
I try and stay out of the Star Wars fake universe.
I know. Trust me, total Star Trek, and this, but you got to spend time with your kids. They like Star Wars, and you know what? Who am I to argue? At least it's better than watching Legally Blonde or some other.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So I started watching them, and I got to give credit. At least they're keeping with the fake universe fun stuff in the Clone Wars. You start to get some of the backstory from the actual movies that you were like, well, how did this happen? How did that happen? And they filled in the pieces. But they're doing an entire series on Obi-Wan Kenobi. And I'm kind of interested to see how that turns out.
Yeah, I've heard mixed things about the Boba Fett series
Me too.
and even Mandalorian of where they're going with it apparently, but I have to say my favorite Star Wars movie is Rogue One.
Yeah, I liked Rogue One.
Like I that is the only Star Wars movie that I have in my collection. I liked it so much I bought it. And that
Hell
tells
yeah.
you something.
It does.
You know, one of the reasons, you know why? They'll die at the end. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Yeah, spoiler alert. You know, I'm more of a Star Trek fan because, like you, I believe in there's more science into the Star Trek universe. I believe that there's more brevity, humanity in it because, you know, nothing against Star Wars, but okay, Jedi Knights got it. So they have their ability with the Force, and that's just, you know, okay. Whereas Star Trek, no. Some planets you can't go down into. It could kill you. Humans are humans. There are other creatures, other species, and it just makes sense in the fact that Earth is actually a part of it, you know, in the spectrum of things. But interesting times for sci-fi fans because those seem to actually be being made and put with good writing, good, you know, production values, whereas, you know, back when you and I were going to college, it was all about Fast and the Furious, and you go, how many times? It still is, but how many times can you drive a rice rocket with a huge amount of NOS and say, okay, what are you going to do next?
You know, they just announced Fast X, right? I mean,
I don't know.
It was on the docket to be produced, you know, this year, last year, and this year, and then probably 23 it'll be released. But I mean, you knew they were going to do a 10th one.
You know, I after the first one, I was like, yeah, I'm good. Good. I will say,
enough racing.
If I want to do racing, I'll just go to the local racetrack and take my. Well, actually, I don't have any more. I had a Hemi Charger, so. But oh shit, I'm in trouble. Hello.
I love it. The frozen look of despair.
Yeah.
Just the shock right there. Shock value.
Oh yeah.
Well, I understand it is getting late. We have had a fun conversation.
Absolutely, brother man.
I don't need to keep you up any longer. And since you're in trouble, we don't need to continue to dig that hole any deeper. We can pick the Sierra Mist tree another day.
I would love for that, my brother.
And you know, once Howard pays his internet bill, we'll get things rolling again. It'll be a good day in Triple Bville.
Heck yes.
We'll get you going again. So
I'd love to. I can't wait to come back.
Farva, from the bottom and top of my heart, thanks for joining me.
And Kidder, same to you, brother. Always good to see you.
Good to see you, and y'all be safe and stay dry with the moist environment down there. And we'll see you on another episode of Triple B.
Sounds good, brother. You stay dry and safe as well.
Well, that'll pretty much do it for this episode of the Triple B, but wouldn't be an episode of the Triple B without having talked for quite a while and getting in some cheap plugs. So ultimately, number one, thank you for joining me and us on this episode of Beer, Blues, and BS. Number two, visit us online, beerbluesbs.com. Again, beerbluesbs.com. Everything and anything that you could hope for about the Triple B is available for you right now at beerbluesbs.com. That, of course, includes our merch store. Just go to beerbluesbs.com, click on merch. You can pick up some sweet swag, including some pint glasses, so you can have a tasty beverage in there while you're enjoying the show. Maybe some t-shirts with various awesome handcrafted designs, or a sweatshirt, maybe a pullover, all kinds of cool stuff there. beerbluesbs.com, click on merch, and keep watching, because you never know when there'll be some deals in the store. You know what I'm saying? Also at beerbluesbs.com, you can buy us a beer or sponsor the show. If you would like to do so, click the buy us a beer button. You can buy us a beer or buy us around. Type a special message in there for us, and we'll air it on the show. And thank you for the round. So just, if you would, check it out, beerbluesbs.com. Aside from that, on the website, we also have our links to our Facebook page, our YouTube page, and our podcasts page, because we have the audio version of this. So you can choose if you want to see the video version with all the Easter eggs, or just listen to the audio version because you're on the go. Either and any are totally fine. We're happy to have you along for it. Just, if you would, please click the subscribe button, click the like button on this episode, maybe even leave a comment or a review. We'd certainly appreciate it. And, well, how about even share it with your friends? Because sharing is caring, and getting more people involved in the Triple B universe is something that we're all about here at Beer, Blues, and BS. Aside from that, all the audio versions, yeah, we're all over the place. We are on iHeartRadio. Yes, if you have iHeartRadio, you could click subscribe. It's absolutely free to listen, and download the app, or perhaps Spotify. You can subscribe to our podcast on Spotify. The same goes for Pandora, Amazon Music. We're also on Google Podcasts and Apple Podcasts. That's, of course, through the Google Play Store and the iTunes Store, or the Apple Store, if you will. But we are available through iTunes. How about Stitcher, or TuneIn, or IMDb, Player FM? That's just a few that we can mention every week. So if you have an account with your favorite podcast service, search Beer, Blues, and BS, and hopefully we're on there. And if we are, click the subscribe button, please, and thank you. So for the Big D earlier in the show, for the Farva Meister for being on the show as well, and for Howard for not paying his internet bill, or just not having enough of those AOL discs to make it through another week. Thanks for joining us. I really appreciate it. We appreciate it here in the show. Have a great one. Of course, remember to keep your glass at least half full. There's free beer tomorrow, and we'll catch you on down that old moist Tuscan I can't even say it because it's so funny. The moist Tuscan Highway. It's raining out right now. Love it. So, thanks again for joining me. We'll see you again on the next edition of Beer, Blues, and BS. There you go, Howie Blues. Gonna let it record for another little wee bit here, and go from there.
You have been listening to a UA production of Beer, Blues, and BS. If you enjoyed the show, help others find out about it by rating the show or leaving a review at your podcast listening service of choice. Thanks for listening, and may your glass never be empty. UA Productions presents A Glimpse Behind the Curtain.
the cool thing with all of this as well is that, of course, Chris has no idea. And so seeing the video here is going to be his first, like, what the hell? Which is maybe what he's also saying. What the hell, Steve?
One of the reasons topic 2 is what it is.
Perfect. All right. Well, you're ready. I'm ready. We might as well get this thing on the proverbial road. So unlike Chris, I'm going to give a countdown. We're coming at you in 3, 2, 1.
Do I end this call or do you?
Oh, I was going to say that if you wanted to end, and you can there, and you can apologize incessantly for both of us, and then you can go get 2 hours of sleep.
There we go. That's the game plan. Well, brother,
get you fired up again soon. So thank you.
No, definitely, and hit me up. I love coming back on the show anytime. We can talk just about anything. You know, we can even point all the times I was embarrassingly hilarious in our college years if we got to.
We're gonna have to do a whole series on it.
Oh God, moments in time of Farva's history.
The best one is that we got the Magnum out there. So
we do.
Now,
we got the Magnum.
Now that the story is out there,
oh God,
it's there.
Oh God,
is the missus there so then she can see?
Oh yeah, see, it's the Magnum.
She ran away.
Yep.
She didn't want to see the Magnum.
No, she did not want to see the Magnum.
Are we still doing phrasing? Phrasing? All right.
Phrasing.